What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Flock of Seagulls, and we're returning to The Light at the End of the World, 1995. Thank you to all the folks who've been commenting along the way, and Kim, who's taken a particular interest in this album and this phase of the Seagulls' journey, which of course is not the phase for which they are most famous, but anytime there's a group that is particularly popular for their 80s songs, I'm always curious how they evolve, how they sound when the trends and stylings of music had moved into a new phase. So, as I said at the beginning of this album, I was especially keen to hear, any degree of continuity and similarity, but also how they might sound different. And of course, the stuff from the late 80s already was quite different from the Seagulls material from the early 80s. So yes, there's been a dynamic evolution, and although different albums may not be to everyone's taste, or they may feel like, they took a wrong turn or went in a wrong direction, I'm just here for the journey, so shout out to those who are here as well. And the next track, is it A Walk in the Garden? Is that the name of it? Walking in the Garden. So yeah, it certainly suggests an atmosphere and a type of visual setting. Of course, a particular garden that you might imagine might be different from the one I would, but it certainly gives a sense of motion and atmosphere. Now, I think the phrase is more likely to be interpreted in a daytime setting, but of course you can walk through a garden at nighttime or under the moonlight, so I suppose there's details that could be filled in different ways. Of course, the garden could be a metaphor for a relationship or part of your life, or the idea of the phrase functioning on multiple levels. So it is both visual and literal, but also psycho-emotional or figurative in some way. I would not be surprised. Let's hear what it is in practice, and I'll try to catch what I can. This is a Flock of Seagulls. The track is Walking in the Garden, and it's from their 1995 album, The Light at the End of the World.
By the hand, we went walking in the garden. Well, it's 3:05 in the afternoon and the sun is beating down. I gotta pack my bags, get out of this stinking town. Don't try to tell me my life is harder, but it seems so easy. Walking in the garden. 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 Walking in the garden.
Oh. It's incredible. I love that, and had different flavors. Like, there was that keyboard riff in the chorus that really did feel like throwback Seagulls. Then there's this, wicked guitar somewhere between rock and roll and bluesy. That felt a bit more evolved, although again, some of their early songs, had some notable guitar work. But nevertheless, yeah, it felt a bit more like natural instrument band sounding than some of their early stuff. Then there were these like artsy ambient sections. The opening was like that. Then that crazy like breakdown section, I think it was in the back half of the tune, but more or less in the middle of the tune. And then the ending again. And all of those sections had this a bit spacey feel, a bit psychedelic feel, a bit heavy. There was that like deep, bristling bass, like electric bass at the bottom, and the guitar would suddenly became like a bit space ambient sounding, but again also a bit dissonant, a bit alien sounding. And then the that main sort of rhythm where there's a big like keyboard chord progression mixed with the guitar. The bass was really grooving, and what's the right phrase? It had a bit of a funkiness to it, but also a bit of a soulful groove. So some really interesting sonic elements and some different stylings, and I just love the way the track played out overall. So yeah, a bit throwback Seagulls, a bit evolved Seagulls, taking some different stylings and genres, putting them together I think very effectively. I enjoyed the vocals. So the lyrics, I think, number one, we got a reference to Garden, which I think more or less is like Central Park in New York, but like at different times. Like at first it is sort of a daylight atmosphere, and the woman taking him by the hand, but then later they're under the moonlight, they're lying together. I feel like maybe walking in the garden is functioning both visually and literally and as a metaphor, and it's being contrasted with life being hard. So like it sounds like maybe it's something that provides solace. It's a interpersonal connection, and maybe there's like a suggestion of it functioning as an indication of like intimacy, or at least something happening between two people that is distinct from the stinking city and so on, which I was amused by that line. But yeah, it sounds like getting away from the rat race or the difficulties of life and having your life being refreshed by walking in the garden, whether again that's literally and metaphorically, or it's functioning more as a metaphor or more in a sort of visual narrative sense. But yeah, another really cool one, and this one was dynamic. It had a lot going on and a lot going for it, so I'm enjoying this journey through this album. I hope you are too. Let me know what you think of the song, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.